April 1945. The Pacific Ocean looked calm that morning, deceptively calm. Beneath the grey sky, the largest armada ever assembled in the Pacific drifted toward a small island that would soon become one of the deadliest battlefields in modern history. Battleships, aircraft carriers, destroyers, and troop transports stretched across the horizon like an endless steel city floating on water. The target was Okinawa, and what was about to begin would become the infamous Battle of Okinawa. For the soldiers aboard those ships, the mission seemed clear. Capture Okinawa, establish air bases, and open the path to the Japanese mainland. It sounded simple in theory. But deep beneath the island's limestone ridges, the defenders were already waiting. Inside a network of caves and tunnels, Japanese Commander Mitsuru Ushijima had prepared a strategy unlike anything the Americans had faced before. He knew his forces could not defeat the invading army in open battle. Instead of defending the beaches, he chose something far more calculated and far more deadly. He would let them land. On April 1st, more than 180,000 American troops poured onto the beaches of Okinawa. Soldiers jumped from landing crafts expecting machine gun fire and artillery explosions. Many braced themselves for the kind of brutal resistance they had seen in previous island battles. But when they hit the sand, something strange happened. Nothing. The beaches were almost completely silent. No defenders rushed forward. No bullets cut through the air. No artillery struck the shoreline. Troops moved inland quickly, capturing 2 important airfields within hours. Some officers began to whisper something no one had dared hope for. Maybe this invasion would be easier than expected. But the silence was not weakness. It was bait. Miles to the south, Japanese forces were hidden along a massive defensive system known as the Shori Line. Hidden artillery sat inside reinforced caves. Machine guns were buried in hillsides. Mortars waited behind ridges that concealed entire battalions of soldiers. Ushijima had built a battlefield designed not to stop the Americans at the beach, but to slowly destroy them once they were trapped inland. And when American troops finally reached those fortified hills, the illusion shattered. The ground erupted. Artillery thundered from hidden positions carved into rock. Machine guns tore through advancing units. Mortar shells rained down from slopes that had looked harmless only moments earlier. What had felt like a smooth advance suddenly turned into a brutal, grinding nightmare. Every ridge became a fortress. Every cave concealed another defender who refused to surrender. The island itself seemed to fight back. But the terror of Okinawa was not confined to the land. Out on the sea, a different kind of battle was unfolding, one that turned the sky into a weapon. Japanese pilots climbed into their aircraft knowing something that chilled even the most hardened American sailors. They were not expected to return. These were kamikaze missions, suicide attacks designed to crash explosive-filled planes directly into enemy ships. As the naval fleet supported the land invasion, radar operators began detecting incoming aircraft in terrifying numbers. Sometimes dozens. Sometimes hundreds. Air raid sirens echoed across the ships. Anti-aircraft guns erupted in thunderous bursts as sailors tried desperately to shoot down the approaching planes. The sky filled with smoke trails, tracer rounds, and exploding aircraft. But kamikaze attacks were different from ordinary air raids. Pilots did not turn away. They kept coming. It only took one plane slipping through the defensive fire to change everything. One aircraft diving straight into a destroyer. One explosion tearing through a carrier's flight deck. One impact ripping open steel holes and setting entire ships ablaze. Flames and black smoke rose across the fleet as sailors fought desperately to save their vessels. Some ships sank within minutes. Others burned for hours while crews struggled to control the damage. By the time the battle ended, the scale of destruction shocked even experienced military leaders. The Battle of Okinawa had become the bloodiest battle of the Pacific War. Over 12,000 American soldiers were killed, and tens of thousands were wounded. Japanese military losses were catastrophic, with more than 100,000 soldiers dead. But the tragedy did not end with the armies. Hundreds of thousands of Okinawan civilians were trapped between the two forces. Many were caught in the crossfire, while others were forced into caves as the battle raged above them. Entire villages vanished under artillery fire, and the island that had once been peaceful farmland turned into a devastated landscape of mud, smoke, and shattered stone. When the fighting finally stopped in June 1945, Okinawa was almost unrecognizable. And yet the battle carried a deeper, more terrifying implication. If capturing one small island had cost so many lives, what would it take to invade Japan itself? That question would soon push world leaders toward a decision that would change history forever.